All right, welcome back to the podcast. Nick from Lucky Nick's Pizza Pop-Up is joining me on the show. We're going to talk all about how he got started and just hang out and chat about pizza. So, Nick, thank you so much for hanging out with me, man.
Bruce, of course, thanks for having me. Long-time listener, kind of surreal to be on here.
Well, I appreciate you listening to the podcast, and we were kind of chatting about that before we got started here, that you're doing a pop-up and you've listened to some episodes of the show, and I found you on Instagram, and your pizzas look pretty awesome. So tell me a little bit about, like, how did you get into the whole pizza thing?
Yeah, so it wasn't like I came from an Italian family or anything, or I have this recipe. Pretty much all the food background that I have is I worked for Nordstrom for about 10 years, and I worked in the cafe, worked my way up from cashier, eventually all the way to head chef, and I had never even touched dough. I never touched, pizza in general. Uh, Obviously have a lot of like fond memories as a kid, a lot of like thick, greasy slices with way too many toppings. But yeah, no,
The
when
best
once the
kind.
pan, oh sorry,
The best kind of pizza right there.
oh yeah, right. I mean, yeah, no, it's still definitely some of my favorite. But no, yeah, once the pandemic hit, kind of had a feeling I was going to lose my job. Um, in that time frame, I was watching a lot of videos, and one that kept coming up, and I think I watched it even before the pandemic, but was the Munchies Vice video on Anthony Mangieri. I think it was like the return of
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Wiener
yeah.
Pizza. And I must have watched that thing like 200 times. I just thought he was like the coolest dude, also covered in tattoos, doing pizza his way. And something just clicked, and I wanted to do it. So kind of talked to my wife about it. I had free time, wasn't sure what the next step was. She surprised me with the rock box. Um, just went from there, watched as many videos as I could. A lot of Falco videos, a lot of the Gosney videos, just trying to see what stuck with me. And yeah, eventually I was like, okay, I feel pretty confident. Started a little Instagram, started doing a couple pre-sales just to friends and family. And yeah, eventually that just kind of turned into more friends and family and their friends and family. And yeah, it kind of took off way more than I expected.
Wow, so you started learning how to make pizza from YouTube.
100%.
That's fantastic. I love that. You can learn I mean, listen, I love college and I love learning,
Mm.
but I think you don't necessarily need to go to a place. The internet's an amazing place. You can pretty much learn anything that you need to learn, at least to get enough to get started with something on YouTube.
Absolutely. And and I feel like there are people who are just better at learning by watching. And I'm
Yeah.
definitely one of those people. Um, but yeah, no, it kind of blew my mind how much I can learn in such a short period of time. And of course, I started picking up books too and trying to pick up little things. And but yeah, that's where it started.
I'm 100% YouTube or visual and then doing. I People send me pizza books all the time, but I never read them. I look at the pictures, but I can't figure out how to do anything by reading something and then doing it. I need to like read it and then go watch a YouTube video and then like tinker a little bit, and then I'll go back to the YouTube video and then I'll tinker a little bit more. And that's how I learn. I'm very much a visual learner, like you said, visual and then hands-on.
Yeah, to me, it's the best way. At least for me, I went to college for a little bit, didn't finish, so maybe that explains it. Maybe if there was YouTube.
Yeah, right. I got a degree in Google University. That's what I say.
There you go.
So when did you start your pizza pop up? I just looked at your Instagram while you were talking about how you got started, and I saw a 2 year anniversary post from a couple weeks ago. So is it been 2 years since you first started officially?
Yeah, I would say it's been a little over 2 years. I think we counted the 2 years as once we had kind of outgrown the house. So that kind of started selling, or I mean, obviously I shouldn't be saying this, but it's like, yeah, I was selling pizzas out of the house. I didn't know, I was just trying to start, didn't, no place was even having, it
You're not
wasn't
doing it
like,
anymore. It's fine, right?
right, yeah, yes. But it wasn't like, it was right before like all the breweries were trying to search for food just to help them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so was doing that out of the house probably in April or May. And then eventually it got kind of crazy. My wife was like, "Hey, there's too many cars. The neighbors think we're up to something. You need to figure out like your next step." So that's when, yeah, in like probably the last week of May, I started to GoFundMe. I really wanted to snag one of the at the time the Forza Forni caters, now Fiero, and yeah, started that. And dude, we raised like over half of the amount that we needed, which was like mind-boggling. Because again, I mean, I knew I had support from friends and family, but kind of that much I wasn't anticipating it. And then from there, kind of, just borrowed a little bit of money from some other family members. And yeah, we got that thing going. At the time, the turnaround for that oven, I want to say, was like a month. So we got it pretty quick. And then, dude, we just went for it. The first one was definitely a learning experience. I had never cooked inside of a wood-fired oven. I mean, a rock box isn't really a wood-fired oven, but I had never cooked in one until I got the cater. And then the following week we had our first pop-up. So it was a pretty quick learning process. Wasn't too bad. First pop-up was like 70 pies, 20 of them probably burnt. We had no canopy. It was midsummer. It was just two of us, so it was kind of a mess. But then from there, like week to week, it just got better and better. And yeah, and now we have a pretty strong team.
I want to know how that GoFundMe works. So how does that work? You set up a GoFundMe account and a page, and then people donate, and then do they get anything out of it, or do you have to reach a certain criteria before you get the money? And how much does GoFundMe take? Because I get a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, so there's I know GoFundMe is different compared to Kickstarter. I think Kickstarter, you have to reach your goal or else you don't get any of the money. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that's how that works. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Um, in GoFundMe, you just set, a goal, and you can kind of cash out whenever. You don't necessarily need to reach that goal. But they do take a slight percentage. I forgot what it was, but it wasn't anything crazy.
And then you just put, and you're responsible for kind of getting the word out there, right? You have to send that to your friends and family, or set up some sort of website or something so people are aware of where they can go.
Yeah, so at the time, I mean, still we pretty much run solely on Instagram. That's really our big thing. But yeah, a lot of it we kind of had like some incentives if you donated. Uh, like I think if you donated a minimum of like $25, you got entered into like a raffle to win a pizza party for you and like 20 friends or something. Just things like that. If you spent $50, you get a shirt or whatever. So that's kind of what helped. And then from there, friends would just post it. And I think even if you got, I think it was, even if it was like a $1 donation, we like called you out or something on Instagram.
So it's more almost like Patreon, right? Are you familiar with what Patreon is? Where instead of a one-time thing, it's like a monthly thing. A lot of creators use Patreon as a way to say, hey, if you spend, $5 a month, we'll give you extra content, or if you
Yeah,
spend
yeah,
ten
yeah.
dollars
No,
a month, we'll give you a T-shirt.
yeah, no, that's a great site. I follow a couple people on that. I need to boost up my video taking. I feel like that's the kind of the one outlet where we're not as busy on. We're definitely trying to get more reels going, but I think something like Patreon would be beneficial. I think even someone like Alex Coons, who you've had on, I feel like that would be someone that I would want to keep up with monthly.
Yeah, he does a pretty good job on that for sure. He's definitely a good person to follow on social media. Hot Tongue Pizza and Purgatory Pizza, if you haven't checked him out yet.
Yeah, no,
So
they're
you've been doing
great.
it for 2 years. You started. You got all that stuff situated now. So how's it been going for you lately?
It's been great, man. So we're out here I live in Rancho Cucamonga. So we're definitely a little more, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Southern California as a whole, but like we're kind of in the Inland Empire, which is about, an hour east of Los Angeles. So I definitely feel like we've made a huge mark here. And as the last 2 years have gone on, making our way out towards LA a lot, we've definitely done pretty well out there trying to expand our brand. But things have been great. A lot of collabs. We're selling out almost every single time we have a pop up. Meeting a lot of other great, pizza pop ups, pizza restaurants, and just other restaurants in general. So it's been really, really good. We've been growing pretty quick. Like I said, we have a really good team right now. Yeah, things are. I don't want to say we're kind of hitting like a plateau because obviously there's more to be done and we're trying to figure that out as we go because we're kind of maxed out at what we can do with the
You
current
mean like
setup.
maxed out with when it comes to like how many events you can do with the team that you have and the resources that you have currently?
Yeah, and just, like when we're out and about logistics as far as like, okay, obviously we're working with sourdough, what's the temp, how many doughs can we realistically hold for this amount of time, converting recipes for how much sourdough we're going to use to try to make them last longer, and just in general, like for pop-ups, we mostly do just like pizzas and desserts. That kind of seems to be the easiest way to go as far as functionality when we have like a huge line and we're just trying to churn and burn. We can't really do salads and other things that I would like to do. But then that's where some of the collabs come in and some of the pop-ups that we do, whether it's like Melody, who has a full kit, like a kitchen where we can do way more than just pizzas, or using someone else's kitchen like Woon, who we're going to collab with.
So when you say
That,
collab, you mean you meet like somebody else who has a different style of product that you can either go to their kitchen, or is it you guys do a pop up together and they cook one thing and you cook another thing?
we usually try to do a collaborative menu. Like case in point, we just announced we're doing one with Woon, who's a Chinese food restaurant out towards LA, and they have a pretty big following. Keegan and the team have done a great job. But and this is our second one, but we're doing three pizzas, kind of loosely based off of like one's a pork belly bow pizza. They used to have like these wok seasoning potato chips, so we're doing like a potato pie that's a take on that. We're doing a Chinese sausage and peach pie, and the Chinese sausage almost curls up like little cup and chars.
Yeah.
We're doing a pepperoni and pineapple fried rice. So when I say collab, we definitely try to, have fun.
Pepperoni, pineapple, and fried rice.
Trust me. Trust.
Listen, I'm not one to say you can't put anything on pizza because I've seen what people do and I've tasted some pretty unique pizzas myself. So I'm all for anything on pizza. Like there's no topping that for me doesn't belong on pizza. And like I'm not saying that they're all good. I'm just saying
Right,
I'll
right.
try anything.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying pepperoni and pineapple fried rice pizza. It's fried rice with
Oh,
pepperoni
I
and
thought you meant
pineapple.
on a pizza. I was
No,
like,
no, no,
I
no,
don't
no,
know,
no,
but
no,
I'll
no.
try it. Damn,
Yeah, I would definitely have to work on that one.
that would be interesting. You should definitely do that now. You should try it out, see how it comes out. Maybe it comes out great.
Like some crispy rice. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny.
So you collab. I got you. And how do you set up these people you meet on Instagram?
Um, Honestly, I think most of them have been like meeting them in person. Just, whether it's been through our friends at Homage and they're friends with restaurants out in LA, and then they come out to our pop up and we talk like, hey, it'd be fun, like jokingly but not jokingly because you want it to happen. You're like, like we should, and then all of a sudden it just turns into something, and that's kind of how most of them have worked out.
Huh. So I'm on your Instagram right now, and I'm looking at some of these pizzas. What's the pizza scene like where you are? Are they used to your style of pizza? Do they say it's burnt or it looks
Oh, okay,
burnt, or
yeah.
is there?
Yeah, so in LA, it's been great. Never have any issues because there's so many people kind of doing wood fire, whether it's Pisana or Lamora or, there's a ton of that style with like the leopardine. Out here,
Yeah.
it's definitely been a lot of educating people because, like I said, like I grew up on thick, greasy, too many toppings, getting an extra large pizza for $10.
Right.
So we definitely know our demographic, and we definitely know the spots where we can kind of get away with specials. And we try to be responsible with like getting crazy because we'll get pretty crazy, but making sure we're making all the sauces. We have a guy who can cure our own meat. So if we wanted to do something like a capicola or whatever, we try to offer the best. But it has been a big educational thing for people when they do see leoparding on the pizzas.
They say it's burnt.
Yeah, 100% are like, can I get it less? Can I get it less burnt but more crispy? And it's just like there's no and no. There's just there's one way that we do it, and that's kind of it. And I feel like we've done a good job at kind of taking Neapolitan ideas. It's definitely a Neapolitan inspired pizza, but I kind of looked at what I liked from pizza and what I think people around me would like of pizza. So we use, like the low moisture. There's definitely more high protein flour, so we can get it a little bit crispier. Just things like that. But yeah, definitely a big learning curve as far as like how to explain to people what we're doing.
Yeah, it's tough because there are people out there, even though Instagram and pizza on Instagram is such a popular item for people to view and look at, they still don't understand the different styles of pizza. And I don't mean styles of pizza like geographical style, but like, why is Neapolitan pizza? Why do they have the leoparding spots? And why is it not a crunchy pizza? Because of the flour that you use and the cooking style. They don't understand that. They understand like what it looks like visually, but not the texture, I don't think.
Right, yeah. And I mean, in all honesty, that's what had intrigued me to that video that I was talking about earlier. Because I've had wood fire pizza.
Which one was that with Anthony Mangieri?
Yeah. Like I've had wood fire pizza out here where I'm at, but never to the level of what that looked like. It was always definitely more like, oh, okay, they're just using lower end stuff or whatever. So to me, I felt like I could kind of tap into a market that wasn't necessarily in my area. That is in like you have to drive out an hour to LA to get. So as much as I have had people that I've had to educate and kind of, just tell them no to, for every one of them, there's been 15, 20 people who have, been repeat customers.
Yeah. I'm sure it gets easier for you, too, the more established you are, right? Maybe in your earlier days, it was a little bit more educating than it is now because people probably know you by now, a little bit at least.
No, for sure. And it's such a different scene here compared. And I don't want to keep comparing to LA, but that is kind of the bigger market around us. But when we're at Homage Brewery in Pomona, that's kind of our home base. We'll have a line 20, 30 minutes before we even start, and
wow,
that still blows my mind. And it's that's kind of the reminder of like, all right, like, people want this type of pizza. They want to experience it. They're willing to spend 15, 18, 20 bucks on a special pie. That's only going to feed one, maybe two, So yeah, just keep doing what we're doing.
That's a good sign too. If people are willing to line up and pay that money for a smaller pie, then you're doing something right.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's good. And like I said, I love offering people something that I wish there was before I kind of knew about it, if that makes sense.
Do you use Instagram to get the word out? Is that your marketing platform that you favorite?
Yeah, that's definitely been our main like kind of hub for getting anything out. We've done like we still have a Twitter. It's just not there's like just no traction on that thing. I have a Facebook.
Twitter's hard for a local business.
Yeah, no, it's just I think on Twitter people want kind of like the funny one-liner, and like I'd rather spend that time on a reel or something now. I've definitely noticed that reels are kind of the way to go. Just the amount of whether it's likes or interaction, like the repost. We have a TikTok. We're trying to get better on that too, but I would say Instagram has been the main thing.
Yeah, Instagram, Reels, and TikTok, different ways they send the content to the audience, but the content itself when it comes to like creating pizza videos, you can use on both, and I think they're both a great platform for organic reach right now. It's kind of the only place, right? TikTok and Instagram Reels, the only place where you can post something and get pretty decent organic reach without having to pay money.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's, I would say 95% of our customers have come from Instagram. And
How
that's
do
a
you
lot.
take your photos? Because you got even though you use not even though you use Instagram and you do post pizza photos and they're really good. Are you just because you're outdoors and the natural lighting and are you using your iPhone?
So whenever we come up, like I'll usually post photos like the ones that there's some on our Instagram that have like the black tabletop. That's actually in my kitchen. So I have a
Huh.
rock box still at my house, so I'll kind of come up with specials at my house, so I don't have to start a wood-fired oven and waste a bunch of wood.
Oh,
So I
okay.
kind of have a spot where I can take good photos. Other than that, yeah, we're just kind of wherever there's good lighting outside, and I have an app which my friend had showed me. I believe it's called Lighthouse. I could be wrong, but yeah, no. So I usually like to put the saturation up a little bit, make it look a little more juicy.
Yeah. There's another app that people use. I think it's called Snapseed. Snapseed kind of does the same thing, like ups the HD value of the photo and makes it a little bit more richer looking. So you
Oh
can
man,
take it
okay.
with your iPhone and then put it through a Snapseed. One button, it'll just kind of make it pop.
I'll have to check that out. Snapseed. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
it's free. I
Yeah,
think it's free. I'm pretty sure it's free.
awesome. All right, well that's even better then.
Free is always better than paying for an app, even though usually they're only like $3 or $5, so it's not that good.
Right.
So some of these pictures with the one with the black background, you're making the pizza in your rock box because I have a rock box, and my
Mhm.
pizzas don't ever come out that good.
Thanks. I mean, I don't know what you're doing, but I mean, everyone's just different. I think, and I also, because I have two rock boxes, and I definitely feel like both slightly cook a little different.
Yeah,
So I kind of have my favorite, but yeah, no, it's usually like at least 2 day ferment, same dough, um, just blistering. I got it cranked to like 850, and then I like
yeah.
towards the end, I just crank off the heat and just finish it so the bottom can get a little more well done. Because I've noticed like if you just finish a pie and it looks done and you take it out of the rock box, it kind of has that shrivel effect where like it almost cooked it way too fast, and then it all just wants to
Yes.
like sink back in. Um, but that's just what I've
Like
noticed.
the top cooks real fast, and the bottom you gotta really let it heat up, otherwise the bottom doesn't cook as fast as the top does.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if this podcast is sponsored by Uni, so I'm sorry,
No,
but okay,
no.
I'm partial to the rock box. Like I've cooked in the Unis. I just think the stone on the rock box is a lot better.
I was just gonna say that before you said that. It's we're actually sponsored by Forza Forni or Fiero Forni now. So shout
Okay,
out to them. I know you just
the
mentioned
best
them earlier, but
ovens.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. For home use, I have an uni and I have a rock box, and it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm just cooking one pie,
Mm,
one pizza, the uni is fine. But if
mm.
I'm cooking three, four, five in a row, like my daughter had a birthday party yesterday as I'm recording this, and she had 10
Happy
friends over.
birthday.
So I made thank you. She had 10 friends over, kind of hanging out in the backyard, and I made pizzas for them. If I think I made like 7 pizzas, which they're small, but I couldn't
Mm,
have done that in the uni. It would have taken me an hour. In the rock box, I did it, relatively quickly, 20, 30 minutes. What I
right.
did too is I have a little trick. So I also have a baking steel. Have you ever heard of baking steel?
Yeah, yeah.
So I have a baking steel, and what I do is if I'm cooking a lot of pizzas, I'll get the rock box going, cook it in there, and then I'll have the baking steel on the grill to get the bottom cooked real good. So I'll take it out of the rock box, put it on the baking steel, finish the bottom, and then I'll be able to put the next one in the rock box without having to worry about it heating up too
Smart.
long.
That's smart. That kind of, I mean, not quite the same thing, but there's a place, I think it was like on the pizza show, a place called the Cheese Board in San Francisco. Same kind of concept, not an
Oh yeah.
uni. They start the pizzas inside of the deck oven, and then when they come out, they have a flat top, and they just all the pizzas
Yes,
just
yes, I
covered
saw
in a
that too.
flat top. Yeah, I was like, that is
Like a
amazing.
grill, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a flat top for like burgers or sandwiches, or but like they just utilize it as a way to crisp up the bottom. That's great.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do because my girls tend to like the bottom a little bit crispier, and that's the only
Mhm.
way that I could get it to be real crispy on the bottom with using the rock box or the uni.
No, that's smart. I gotta do that because I've definitely at home tried to mess around with different styles of pizza, um, but that yeah no I never thought of doing that. That's really smart.
I usually so in the wintertime I'll bring the baking steel in my house and I'll just leave it in the oven. And it's heavy. It's got to weigh 20 pounds. It's really heavy. So to take it in and out of the oven, it's kind of a pain in the butt.
Oh,
But
I'm
what
sure.
I was talking to Dan Richer, you know Dan Richer, who
He's
rots up pizza
from
in
Rock.
New
Yeah,
Jersey.
yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to him about how I like the baking steel, but I hate taking it in and out of the oven. He's like, bro, I just leave it in the oven and I just cook all my stuff right on there. And I started to do that. I'm like, oh my god, why'd I take it out every time?
Yeah, no, I think anything you put inside of the oven, you're usually trying to get some kind of color on the bottom. So that's really really smart. And that guy's just really really smart. So it doesn't
Yeah,
surprise me that he thinks of something like that.
right. That's why I love doing this podcast. I always learn something. One thing I'll learn.
There
That's
you
all I got
go.
to do. If I walk away, learn one thing, I'm happy.
There you go.
So what are you looking forward to? Are you going to start? Are you looking to? I know we talked about a little bit before we got on the podcast about how pop-ups fascinate me because there's no set. I mean, there is a set time and day, but it's not the same time and day every single day. Versus a brick and mortar, and you were like, yeah, but it's stressful because you got to like set up a restaurant every day. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You have to pretty much start from scratch every time you do a pop-up. Is brick and mortar on your agenda in the future, or you like the pop-up and you're going to do something like that more? What's up with you?
Yeah, so I've had some talks with people, and there's either one of two routes. Like I love doing the pop-ups. Like it's fun. We get to, we're in and out 2 3 hours, sell a couple hundred pies, and we're good for the day. But just the logistics of okay, someone has like we have to go pick up the oven, we have to go fill the trailer, we have to go drive to wherever, we have to set up, we have to, it's it's just a lot, and I give so much credit to everyone who might not even have the setup that we have because I feel like we're pretty functional, but it's a lot of work, and I'll say it's a lot better than me being in the job that I was at before, so I don't take it for granted that I get to make up my own schedule and yada yada
Right.
yada. But definitely a brick and mortar is something that is on our radar. We're looking at a couple spots, and again, I'm going back to Alex from Hot Tongue, but in my head, I always thought it was smarter to do a second gen restaurant because we've had offers for this food hall wants you or blah blah blah, but one that's not something that I want to do because obviously you have to abide by their hours.
Right.
But two, just a full build out and the wait for that is just, I'd rather just have multiple pop ups. So right now we are looking at a couple second gen restaurants. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but that is definitely something that's on our radar. I know it's a lot of work, but I feel like not only do I owe it to myself, like my team gives up their weekends to help me sling some pies, and I really want to just kind of have a location where, you know, it's theirs as much as it is mine, and we're having a good time and making pizzas, and they're all great at what they do too. So offering, more than what I can give.
Yeah.
That's
I
kind of
never really thought about that as well too,
goal.
because it's the pizza pop-up thing's probably more a weekend thing, right?
Yeah, I would say definitely Friday through Sunday we're pretty booked. We do have quite a bit of caterings throughout the week, but I mean those just fluctuate. Right now, summertime we're pretty busy, and even fortunately like wintertime here it doesn't really get too bad. So we are pretty busy, but yeah, Friday through Sunday for sure we're booked.
Have you been to Alex's new place, the Hot Tongue Pizza?
No, I was supposed to go last week, and then something came up. Actually, my friend Andrew worked with him at Purgatory. He works with him at Hot Tongue now. But I've talked to Alex a little bit through Instagram. Yeah, sweetheart. I just downloaded
Yeah.
too his I'm not sure if you saw it. He has like how to start a pizza restaurant.com or something like that, or how to start a pizza shop.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, no, it's like, dude, like all this information that is so valuable and he's just giving it out for free is just one, amazing, and two, insane. So yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be at a pizza show. I think we're doing the Pizza Tomorrow Summit, which is happening in Orlando in November. He's going to be speaking there, and I'm going to have like a little booth where we do these podcasts and stuff. It's going to be fun.
Rad. Yeah, no, I definitely want to go there. I'm not a vegan, but the pizzas look insane.
Yeah, me too. I'm not either. Well, my daughter is. One of my daughters is a vegan, and he actually gave me his cheese recipe that he makes. And he said, "Bro, he said, I know you're not vegan, but you have to come and try the pizza. I promise you, you'll be happy and satisfied. You won't even know." Like, all right, I'll give anything a shot.
That's amazing. No, I've watched the videos, even like the vegan parm. It's like, man, just like 3 ingredients, 4 ingredients. It's insane.
Yeah, he does. He's been doing it. I think he does cooking videos too, where he shows you how to do the cheeses and how he makes his sauces and the vegan sauces on his Instagram. I don't know if it's on his Instagram or Hot Tongue's Instagram, one of the two.
I think he's posted clips on his Instagram, but they have a YouTube. And they also have, again, I watch way too much like pizza videos, I guess, but he has like
Me too.
he has like a mini like video series. It's almost like, I don't want to say it's keeping up with the Kardashians, but it's like he just has like this little webisode thing where it's just like a day in the life. It's pretty funny. You should check him out.
Wait, that's on his YouTube channel?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out. I'll link it up in the show notes for this episode as well because I didn't see that. I only kind of saw whatever he puts on Instagram. This turned into the Alex of Hot Tongue and Purgatory.
I know, right? Wow, it worked. No, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, Nick. It was great talking to you. Don't go anywhere yet. But where can people go follow you? Whether they're on Instagram or on the website or in person, where should they go?
Yeah, so Lucky Nick's Pizza on Instagram. That's our number one. You can always DM us if you have any questions. LuckyNicksPizza@gmail.com is our email. I get back pretty quick on that. I'm not sure when this episode airs, but we'll be in Los Angeles for that Woon collab, the Chinese one, for Tuesday, July 19th. But yeah, no, just keep up on our Instagram. That's the number one way. And yeah, hopefully a brick and mortar.
Coming soon to a town near you if you're in Rancho Cucamonga. I always love saying that name.
It's yeah, we're not known for much other than Workaholics. I'm not sure if you ever seen that show.
I've heard of it. I don't know if I've ever seen an episode.
Okay, it was on Comedy Central, just like a bunch of stoner dudes who had a party house, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, it's all based here.
That's awesome. All right, we'll link up all that in the show notes as well. Instagram, your website, the collab you're doing, and even Alex's YouTube videos. We'll even do that in the show notes over at smartpizza.com.
Yeah, no, please. Yeah, I recommend this for anyone.
I love it. Nick, don't hang up yet, but I appreciate you taking the time and joining me on the podcast. It was great talking to you.
Bruce, thank you so much.